Hello, how are you? My name is Elsa-Sofia Morote, Dr. Morote, and I would like to talk about how to identify a research problem. And I would like to use this presentation to motivate you to create your research problem and to create that problem statement that will help you to develop a research. I will use my own life experience for that. The goals of this short presentation will be to identify how to identify a research problem that is likely to contribute knowledge about education. Now, pointed out here, it is likely to contribute knowledge about education. For us, this is very important, contribute knowledge. And now let's ask a second question, is how to develop the problem into detailed proposal that will be accepted for the reviewers. So first step, you identify a problem, and second step will be you develop that problem in a research proposal. There's 5 stages that when we created a research, when we write a research. First, you identify a significant research problems. Then you write a research proposal, conduct a pilot study, conduct a main study, and then you prepare the report. Now, but I want to focus on the first one, how to identify a research problem. My first advice is do not spend long time in your graduate program before starting the research for a suitable research problem. Don't use your time. Since the day one, you have to have a topic, and then you can develop little by little and narrow during the next years, but you have to begin with a topic. Now, thinking the possible benefits of conducting your research study to prepare for your profession. So also your profession is important. Think about any research that will be useful for your profession. For example, in my case, I was interested in economics of education. I was doing a lot of, I am a statistician and I am very interested in economic growth. So I was thinking, how can I combine my interest in economic growth with education? So I was trying to match two interests, education and economic development. Now, the another thing is you have to think is about your personal interest. If you retire, what you will do tomorrow? What is your passion? Passion is important because you will spend 1 or 2 years writing a dissertation, and I want you to make sure that you have passion on that dissertation, that you really like it, that you really enjoy reading the articles and challenge yourself. If you don't have passion, it will be very difficult for you. So your personal interest is very important. For example, my personal interest is numbers. I love mathematical models. So I was thinking when I was a student, I need to do something that includes mathematical models and formulas because that's my passion. I like it. I like sit down and do my little formulas there. It's something I would love to do. And I like economic development. I used to teach years ago, like 20 years ago, I was teaching entrepreneurship development. And I love business development and economic growth. So that's also my passion. It's also my interest. Within the profession and interest, you have to use these two things. And of course, anything that you do have to contribute, have to be providing research knowledge in the literature. Have to be something that nobody else did before, or you follow up. You have to provide something new in this world. There is 3 steps that in order to do that. First, you need to read literature review. You need to read research literature. Then you have to think about theory-based research. And 3 could be replicate. There's a 4th step that sometimes people do not have time, but will be recommended is you can work in a research team so you can learn how to do research. Let's talk about reading. Reading the research literature. Why is it important to read? When you read a literature, an article, you have to keep in mind that at the end of the article, usually the researchers explain what is needed. You know, this investigation need this and that. So you start thinking, well, this person did research in this and is telling the reader that this is missing. Maybe you can do that thing that is missing. Then when you read an article, you have to think about, has this research problem have conducted before? Somebody else have done that article. Or the idea that you have, you need to investigate if somebody already did it. Sometimes that happened to me. You know, I'm very excited. I was thinking it's a brilliant idea ever, and then I found that 3 or 4 people already wrote the article similar. So I have to tweak it to put something different. I have to change population. I have to add it or variable, something that the person didn't do it and make it interested. So the third question will be, what more can I contribute to what is already known? What more can you contribute to what is already known? If something is already done, why you will do it again? You need to add new things. When I was a student, I was searching all of this, and this is interesting because I was more in the entrepreneurship and business in that time. My knowledge of education was just, I was a professor, I was teaching already, but not in the education per se. So I found this article, this journal actually, Economics of Education Review. To me, it was a big surprise. I don't even knew that economics of education was a complete area of education that have their own journal, and people have discussing about human development, and there is theories, and there is so many information about that. So when you do that, you will feel like the ugly duckling story. Like you feel like you want to do something. That's the way I feel it. And I said, oh my God, all my life I was thinking about the importance of economics and the importance of economic growth. And now we have how education can impact that. And I wasn't even thinking about that before entering to doing a doctoral degree, doctoral in education. So that was my experience, and I want you to experience that. Once you have the idea, go and search, read, and then connect with that. Another thing you can do is you can do theory-based research. That means that you can use other people's research, and you can test the theory. You can also add variables, and you can test hypotheses of variables. For example, at this moment, I am interested in happiness. So I'm reading articles about happiness. I want to write a book about happiness. And my question is, just smiling is make you happy? How often there is an article about the people who are smiling often is happy? What about smiling is part of your culture? So I start questioning the article. What about is just smiling is part of your culture? It doesn't mean that you are really happy or satisfied with your life. It's just the way you have been trained. So you start questioning these things, and then you start creating your own theories. Now, usually review those important findings, and then think about how you interpret, how the person have interpreted or explained the results, and how you will interpret and explain differently. I just try to give you ideas how you can create that. For example, in all of these things, I found an article when I was a student called A Causality Analysis of the Link Between Higher Education and Economic Development. I fell in love with the article. It was exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something that is true with a mathematical model, use statistics. I am interested in higher education and economic development. I mean, that was like a perfect. I found an article that I will be willing to, if I was the author, that would be something I would be writing. When I read the article, this is like the summarize. That was a study that explored the relationship between higher education and economic development using co-integration and Granger causality test. I said, wow, this is exactly what I would like to do. And they found the results. There was a significant causality for higher education efforts in Sweden, United States, United Kingdom, Japan, and France. However, similar causality link they did not find in Italy or Australia. And the magic of finding this article is this: 68 references. I was creating my literary database. I already have 68 references that it is matching with my personal interest. What about that? That's what you need to do. And this is my dissertation. My dissertation ended 2 years after, being the relationship among higher education, economic growth, and employment in leading Latin American emerging markets. I will stop here and I will have a second video to continue talking. Okay? I hope you like this presentation. See you in a few minutes.